everybody! My name is Melanie.
And my name is Stephanie.
And welcome to our channel.
My sister and I started this channel to spread awareness for chronic illnesses and to spread body positivity. We believe that every body is beautiful.
Society likes to tell people that they're not beautiful because they have a disability or they're not skinny enough, an infinite number of reasons really. But we firmly believe that there is so much beauty in difference. You don't have to fit society's mold to be beautiful. I mean, if the world was uniform, beauty wouldn't exist.
It would just be existence.
Exactly. Beyond that, we're here to be a positive force in this community.
In this video, we're going to talk about our chronic illness journey.
And with that, let's get into the video. As a disclaimer, we are obviously not medical professionals, so if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, please go see your healthcare provider.
In order for our chronic illness journey to make sense, we need to go back to a time in our lives when we were a bit healthier.
It's kind of shocking, but prior to being chronically ill, my sister and I were competitive figure skaters. We skated about 40 hours a week. Our life was legitimately figure skating.
But it was a fantastic experience, and I know that we both wouldn't change it for the world. My sister and I have several disorders, but one of our main disorders is called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS for short. EDS is a genetic connective tissue disorder that affects a specific type of connective tissue called collagen. In individuals with EDS, the collagen is not made properly. It is too flexible or stretchy, and is also too fragile. Because collagen is prevalent pretty much everywhere in the human body, EDS can cause a wide variety of issues.
When collagen is supposed to act like the glue that holds your body together, and it's more like an old, crusty, used up, nasty rubber band, just doesn't work very well. Stephanie and I suffer from quite a few symptoms related to EDS, but I think that the most debilitating symptoms are definitely the joint dislocations and spine instability, which serve as a pretty consistent source of pain. As you can imagine, having your joints dislocate on a pretty frequent basis is not exactly ideal, especially when you have to learn how to relocate them yourself, or you're going to end up in the emergency room pretty much every day, multiple times a day. I like to say that my hips go out more than I do.
On a more serious note, EDS can cause a wide variety of serious cardiac issues. Because collagen is present in the cardiovascular system, individuals with EDS are prone to aneurysms, with aortic aneurysms being the most common. An aneurysm occurs when the structures of the cardiovascular system expand to the point where they can't expand any farther. So think of it like a balloon that you've pumped up too far. If these aneurysms are left untreated, what can happen is like when you're expanding a balloon. At a certain point, the balloon can't expand any farther. If you go past that point, it will pop. When this happens, it's called a rupture of that cardiovascular structure.
Unfortunately, cardiovascular ruptures are not typically compatible with life due to rapid blood loss.
Due to this, people with EDS are advised to get echocardiograms, which are basically ultrasounds of your heart at least once a year. The echocardiograms allow us to monitor the structures of the cardiovascular system for aneurysms, so that we can prevent ruptures from occurring.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of peace of mind so that you don't have to worry about potential ruptures nearly as much.
If you'd like to learn more about EDS, please visit the EDS Society. The link will be in our description box below.
Because collagen is so prevalent within the body, it can cause a lot of secondary conditions. Stephanie and I suffer from a secondary condition known as mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS. MCAS is a condition of your mast cells, which are basically your body's first line of defense against any substance that enters the body. Mast cells are responsible for deciding whether a substance that is trying to enter your body is good or bad. In people with MCAS, our mast cells activate or degranulate to just about anything. We can react to water, foods, medications, literally anything.
When mast cells degranulate, they release over 200 substances called mediators, which cause allergic reactions. If the number of mast cells degranulating or activating is high enough, the allergic reaction is a severe type called anaphylaxis, which is fatal if it is left untreated.
For people with MCAS, we typically have a unique list of substances that cause anaphylaxis consistently. However, we can become allergic to new things at any point. We can be allergic to something one day and then be relatively fine with it the next. We're capable of being allergic to anything and everything. We are quite literally allergic to life.
Honestly, I like to think of our mast cells like really angry people with flamethrowers, trying to burn everything down. Oh, you like those drapes over there? Nope, burn it down.
They're pretty dramatic. I mean, I'd just like to be able to eat at a regular restaurant without having to use an EpiPen. But no, can't have that now, can we?
I mean, seriously, Body, can we talk about your issues with food? What did that donut ever do to you?
Due to the unpredictability and seriousness of our allergies, Stephanie and I have a central line called a portacath, which we use to receive IV medications in order to stop anaphylactic reactions quickly.
This is what our portacath looks like when it is hooked up to an IV medication.
Unfortunately, due to poor absorption of medications, for us, oral medications take too long to work when we're in a life-threatening reaction, which happens pretty frequently. MCAS can be really unpredictable, so it's really hard to live with and to treat.
We are very thankful for our ports because they have given us a lot more stability, which allows us to have a more normal life. We hope one day that MCAS has a cure, but until then, we are very thankful to have access to IV medications that make our life more livable.
If you would like to learn more about MCAS, please visit tms.org, which will be linked in the description box below.
In addition to mast cell activation syndrome, Melanie and I have another secondary condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS for short, and no, I don't mean the PANS. POTS is a disorder of the autonomic nervous system, which is responsible for regulating many of the functions that we don't think about, like heart rate, blood pressure, or even how we digest food. In individuals with POTS, these functions tend not to work very well. While each person with POTS is unique, typically one of the most debilitating symptoms for us is called orthostatic intolerance. In healthy individuals, when we stand up, our body compensates for this change in gravity by increasing our blood pressure. For people with POTS, we don't regulate this change in posture appropriately, which leads to fast heart rate or tachycardia, dizziness, and even passing out on a regular basis.
For me, my first symptoms of POTS started at the age of 5. I passed out at the doctor's office getting a finger stick. At the time, we had no idea that this was a sign of what was to come. Unfortunately, POTS can be really hard to deal with because you never know when you're going to have a bad day or you can't get out of bed because you're going to pass out as soon as you stand up. In addition to these symptoms, Stephanie and I deal with a POTS symptom called brain fog. Brain fog is like trying to think through a cloud.
It makes cognitive functioning very difficult. You can be mid-task and completely forget what you're doing.
I have legitimately forgotten my phone in the fridge more times than I care to admit.
Yeah.
Brain fog can be really frustrating, especially when you're trying to go to school and remember things, but your brain is just not having it. Stephanie and I have learned to cope with it as best we can, but more research and treatment options are definitely needed for POTS.
If you'd like to learn more about POTS, please visit Dysautonomia International, which will be linked in our description box below.
Another condition that is specific to Stephanie is called gastroparesis. Gastroparesis is a disorder of the gastrointestinal tract. For people with gastroparesis, their stomach doesn't empty appropriately, if at all. It can take days for food to be digested, which can lead to extreme nausea, bloating, stomach pain, and many other debilitating symptoms.
For me, one of the worst issues caused by my gastroparesis is my inability to absorb oral medications. This has caused me to be nearly 100% dependent on IV medications, because when I take medications by mouth, it either takes a really long time for it to absorb into my system, or it doesn't absorb into my system at all. As you can imagine, with all of the other issues that I deal with, when I take medications, I usually need it to work quickly, like in the case of an anaphylactic reaction, for instance.
In addition, Stephanie also experiences extreme stomach bloating to the extent that she could eat 3 bites of food and feel like she's eaten 3 Thanksgiving dinners. This can lead to a lot of pain, and it makes it really difficult for Stephanie to get the nutrients that she needs.
In my most severe flares, I've been almost completely unable to digest food. TPN and IV nutrition have been on the table more times than I would have liked. Thankfully, I've been able to avoid this, but the risk is always there. To say that I'm thankful for my ability to eat is an understatement.
If you would like to learn more about gastroparesis, please visit GPACT, which will be linked in the description box below.
The last disorder that I deal with is called Common Variable Immunodeficiency, or CVID for short. CVID is an immune system disorder where you're deficient in a type of cell called immunoglobulin, which are cells that are responsible for helping the human body fight infection. There are several types of immunoglobulin.
People with CVID can be deficient in one, many, or even all types of immunoglobulin, which leaves a big part of your immune system missing. In a person with CVID, they can get infections extremely easily. They get strange infections, and they often have infections that are very difficult to treat. Many people with CVID have to treat infections far longer than a normal person would.
For me, I receive a treatment for my CVID called IVIG, which stands for intravenous immunoglobulin G. IVIG replaces the immunoglobulin G that my body doesn't make enough of. Prior to receiving IVIG, I was constantly infected despite continuous antibiotics. Since receiving IVIG, I've been so much healthier.
For me, I definitely experience immune system dysfunction, but I don't currently meet the diagnostic criteria for CVID. Our family has dealt with immune system issues for multiple generations, but no one has been able to diagnose it. Stephanie and I hope to seek specialty care at a research center in hopes of either diagnosing or naming a new condition, as even the Immune System Foundation has never seen a case like our family's before.
Nope.
To give you an idea, I was recently admitted to the hospital nearly septic with a kidney infection 24 hours after onset of symptoms. I was admitted with no pain and no fever, which is wild to say the least. If y'all would like a video on that fun little trip, please let me know down in the comments, and we would be happy to make a video for y'all.
If you'd like to learn more about immune system disorders such as CVID, please visit the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which will be linked in our description box below. Individuals with rare disorders like the ones that Melanie and I suffer from often refer to themselves as medical zebras. This idea comes from a concept that they teach medical students. They teach medical students, when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras, which basically means that when they are diagnosing patients, they should look for common illnesses or horses and not rare disorders or zebras.
If you'd like to see separate videos for each of our chronic illnesses, please let us know down in the comments section below, and we would be happy to make those.
Definitely.
If you'd like to join the Zebra Squad, please be sure to hit the subscribe button.
If you like this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up down below.
If you'd like to be notified every time we post a new video, please be sure to hit the bell icon to turn on post notifications.
And with that, thank you for watching, and remember, different is beautiful.